subject of the passage before us this morning and of our sermon this morning is the place of rules in the Christian life. Rules were a big part of the Colossian false teachers' way of thinking. Paul deals with this problem because these Colossian false teachers were coming not with obvious heresy or error, not with blatant and flagrant advocacy of immorality or disobedience to God, but with a more subtle problem. A problem that is, I think, one of the most challenging in the Christian life and in the Christian church to navigate with skill and success. And it is this problem: what place ought rules to have in the Christian life? I like to think of these Colossian false teachers as men with clipboards. Just imagine them coming with a giant checklist to check off. How many minutes have you prayed today? How many chapters have you read today? How many calories have you eaten today? How many hours have you spent fasting today? How many chores have you done? How many things have you contributed to the life of the church? How much money have you given today? These are the concerns and even the obsessions of the false teachers. They have rules, rules, rules on their brain. And Paul does not just suggest that this is a slight flaw in their approach. He doesn't take these Colossian false teachers out for coffee and give them a little advice about how to be a more effective pastor. What he does is he says that this approach, this obsession with rules, is nothing less than a fundamentally and fatally flawed view of the Christian life. Nothing less than getting the Christian life totally wrong. And he makes this point right up front in verse 20. He reminds the Colossians that with Christ you have died out from under. There's a possible way to translate that word too. The elemental spirits of the world. Something has changed in these Colossians' lives, and the change has happened because they have died with Christ. They are no longer under the heel of the forces that used to rule them. Their death is freedom from that old way of living, just as surely as your death and mine will be freedom from things like taxes and speeding tickets. The state troopers have no jurisdiction in a cemetery. Things have changed. And these Colossians, because they have died with Christ, are no longer under the regime of rules and regulations that these false teachers are bringing. Why? As if you were still alive under the world's influence. We could translate it that way. Why? As if you were still living under the world's power and sway, do you submit to regulations? You see, Paul is saying that the nature of the Christian life is shaped by the cross. What happened to you when you were joined to Christ's death on the cross is determinative for the nature and shape of your life as a Christian. Jesus said to his disciples, "You take up your cross and follow me." He meant your life in my service and as my disciple is to be patterned after and to be part of the reality of my call to you to come and die and find new life, not in the old world, but in Christ's salvation. And Paul is putting it to the Colossians. You have to make a choice. You can't live a cross-shaped life and a clipboard-shaped life. You have to choose. You cannot go on submitting to these rules and regulations and think that you are living a true Christian life, because a true Christian life is shaped on the cross, and these people are coming with their life shaped after a clipboard. And the two are so totally different that you have to choose which is going to be the kind of life you live.